Good morning to everyone. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. It's good to be back on here. I first want to say my, uh, I guess, apologies for not being able to post yesterday evening at all. Um, there were some issues I had to take care of in the ministry. So it kind of took a little bit of my time up, but I do apologize to my viewers and subscribers. Thank you so much for viewing and subscribing to my channel. I hope that you continue to get something out of this. Like I always say, whatever resonates for you, use it. And if it doesn't, pass it on to someone else. Um, Once again, I would like to send out my condolences to the Whitaker family on the passing of Shakira Whitaker, um, who will truly be missed. This month, I'm going to definitely dedicate these videos to her and her family. All right, for the rest of this month. But let's get to it, y'all. Okay, let's talk about this topic here. Um, Not being honest put us in this position. Okay. Honesty plays a big part in any relationship. And we've been talking about various relationships over the last past few videos. Okay. So, in any relationship, honesty is the best policy. It does not always happen that way because people tend to think of honesty in various different ways. Okay. They may be honest about some things, but they're not honest about everything. You know, uh, there are some people that will tell part of the truth instead of all of the truth, and they think that that is helping. Sometimes they will only tell part of the truth because they want to protect the other person's feelings. I can tell you that that works sometimes, or let's just be honest, it only works part of the time, which is one of the reasons why it's good to just be honest and straight up. Okay. We tend to tell these lies, and the honesty does not show up at all. What ends up happening is you tell that one lie, and that lie begins to be, um, it actually begins to grow, and you continue to dig yourself in a deeper, deeper hole instead of trying to patch that hole up. You're digging yourself even deeper because you could have just told the truth, and maybe the truth would have set you free. And I always give examples. Okay, I give so many examples because I want people to understand that I don't want you to just get it based off of my situation, but I want to be um, fair when I speak. Okay, so let's give some examples. Okay, in a friendship, you should be honest about anything because you can lose that friendship forever. Okay, and I'll take money. I like to take money when it comes down to friendship because people tend to lose friendship over money. All right. For me personally, I would not um, loan money to my friends, my closest friends anyway. All right. I would give it to them. If I can't give it to them and they really have to borrow it, then that's something different. Okay. But it's so important to be honest with money when it comes down to friendship because you don't want to lose that friend because of money. All right. They say money is the root of all evil, and that will ruin any type of friendship. All right. It's even worse in relationships, personal relationships. So imagine if it's worse in personal relationships, what it will take a friendship through. So if you can't pay the money back, and that's what I'm trying to say here, um, if you feel like you shouldn't borrow it, don't borrow it. And if you can't pay it back, then you need to tell them. Be honest about it. Don't allow your friends to see you driving in a new car, or you got something new on your back, or you're buying yourself groceries, or you're out um, on a nice evening out, whether you're treating yourself or someone else, and you owe them money. That makes the situation look bad. Seriously. Because then they're thinking like, oh, they could have paid me my money back because they're doing all of this, but they still owe me. And let me be honest, if it's something small as 20, I may say as much as $100. And I know that seems like a lot of money, but to me that seems petty. If it extends more than $100, then we have a problem. Okay? We have a problem because you never said anything to me. Now, if you can't pay it back, we don't have a problem, because if you don't have it to pay back, then I'm okay with that. I can give you more time. You can't give it to me if you can't give it to yourself. That's how I look at it. All right? So that's a great example. Do not lose a friendship over money. Just be honest in that situation. Um, let's use a personal relationship. All right. And I guess I can give my own example on this note, because it has happened to me several times. Okay. My most recent would have been with um, my recent person that I was with recently. Okay. So there was something that happened in my marriage, and I'm not going to get into any details, but what ended up happening is when things got worse, this situation came back up because truth of the matter was we spoke about it. I thought we were being honest with each other with it, and as soon as something came back up, this situation came back into play. So someone wasn't being honest. And I know for a fact it wasn't me. And I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just saying that that's when the honesty should have came into play. Because what ended up happening is I thought that everything was okay. And it really wasn't. So it allowed me to go on with everyday life like nothing was wrong. Deep down inside, there was something wrong on the other side. And that's what people tend to do. You keep living through these lies, or you're just not being honest with your mate or your friend, and those lies, they fester. That is a seed that has been planted, and it has to grow. And what ends up happening is, as it's growing, it's getting worse. That weed is starting to choke the relationship. When we could have done something about this months ago, uh, years ago, things like that, it becomes a bad situation. Seriously. And then what happened for me is I really did not know that it was still affecting the other side. I really didn't know until that one argument happened, and then you brought it back up again. That was totally unfair, especially if we forgave each other for it. If you forgive somebody for something, and we spoke about forgiveness, If you forgive someone for something, you don't bring it back up in that argument or that situation. That's totally unfair. And if you've been living that way with that person, then you cheated them out of the relationship because you never said anything about it. That has happened to me on numerous occasions where I'm thinking everything is okay, and then all of a sudden that one thing is being brought back up, so it constantly plays on, and now the relationship is even worse than what it was because in my mind I thought that everything was okay. People go through this very often. It's not just me. You have to be honest with the person. If you're not being honest with that person and you're continuing to move forward in that relationship, and I don't care if it's a friendship or personal, you're cheating that person out of that relationship. Honestly, that's what you're doing. Moving on from something all the time does not work. You can't just move on because there's still some hurt there. Even if you're honest enough with the person to say, "Hey, look, I'm not feeling that. I really don't believe you." You got to say it. And then another example that I can give is past hurt. Past hurt. And this can go back as far as your childhood. It can go back as far as past relationships. It can go back as far as past friendships, friends that you already lost, and things like that. You carry that hurt into other relationships, and you're not being honest with yourself enough to get help. So you're already ruining the relationship before it even gets started. For a friendship, if you had past hurt in friendships, then you have negative thoughts about people right from the jump. And it's already embedded inside of you because of what you've already experienced with your other friends. So that friendship does not stand a chance. I don't even think I would want to be friends with you because you're already basing it off of what you've been through. You have not gotten help. You have not had a chance to have closure in that situation, and that's why you're still going through it. So you bring that into your new friendship. For your personal relationships, there are things that you did not resolve in your prior relationship, so you bring it into the new relationships. And you're not being honest with your partner, your spouse, your mate. It's not happening. You paint the picture that you can move on or you've moved on from it, but it's still there. It's still festering. And it could be a lot of hurt. You could have been abused mentally, physically, sexually, and you never dealt with it. That's self hurt that needs self healing. You're adding more and more people onto the equation and you have not gotten any help. That's a bad situation. And as you get older, you're going to find that it's going to be even harder to deal with those life changing situations. You're not going to be able to. I tell people all the time that I want to fix myself before I get past that 40 mark. Because once you're there, it's hard for you to change. And I don't know why, but I'm starting to think it's true. By the time you hit 40, you don't really want to hear anything from anybody. That's just it. Your tolerance level is very limited. So I don't want to be that bitter person I try to change anything I need to change about myself now. I do not want to be that way. And I see so many people out here like that. They don't want to change themselves. They're okay with the way that they are. You're hurting people because you're hurt. You're not being honest with yourself enough to want to change that part about yourself to even want to get help. That lie and not being honest is what put the relationship to where it is right now. And I'm talking to both parties. If you're on that side where you've been lied to, or if you're on that side of where you're lying, you have to be honest. Even if you're telling me about the honest part, give me enough time to be honest with you. That's how it starts, and that's how it has to end. I spoke the other day about power and the negative and positive. That's a part of it. That's how you get that negative and positive. On that note, you both have to be on one accord. The honesty part, it works both ways. I had a question that came to me. I think this was like years ago, about my first marriage. And, I always strive to try to make it work as much as possible, when we were together. And I can only be honest enough to say, because we were honest enough. I'm not going to say we were honest about everything, because I wasn't honest about everything and the other person probably wasn't. But we were honest enough to save it when we could. That was enough for the both of us. I can't save any type of relationship if I can't get some of the truth. If I get some of it, I'm like, you know what, for me, and I'm not saying this works for everybody, but if I get some of the truth, guess what? I can figure the rest out by myself. I'm pretty clever there, because I'm a Virgo, so I analyze things very much so. And I'll analyze it down to the T, where I'll pretty much say, okay, this is probably what really happened, to the point where I'll come back and I'll ask you, did this happen this way? That's when the honesty kicks in. You have to tell me the truth. That's the only way I'm going to know. Don't move on with life with anyone. I don't care if it's a relationship, friendship, whatever. Don't keep moving on with life without acknowledging what happened to get us to this point. You have to acknowledge that, because by not acknowledging it, you're continuing to move on, and that hurt is getting worse. It's getting worse. And some people don't even know. They don't even know that you're still hurting because of the situation. You're still going through it. I didn't even know. Honestly, I really didn't. I'm being straight up enough to say I thought everything was cool, but it really wasn't, because the honesty did not kick in. It only allowed the situation to get worse, to the point where things happen in my life that should have never happened. But I had to deal with it. And it's nothing wrong with it. We all do it. We all go through those changes. We all go through those emotions. We all go through the hurt. But you have to keep it real. I'm at the point in my life now where I have to be honest. There is no other way. If I can't be real with myself, I can't be real with no one else. If I can't be honest with no one else, I got to be honest with myself. And if I can't be honest with myself, I can't be honest for anyone. That's just it. We are adults. My adults out there, we're adults. Some of us are husbands and wives. Some of us are fathers and mothers. Some of us are uncles and brothers and sisters and sisters and aunts and everything. Uncles, aunts, cousins. We have the character of a lot of hats that we have to fulfill. And each of those relationships that we put a hat on for, honesty has to come into play. Do people tell white lies? Yeah, they do. Golly, people tell lies too. Don't think they don't, because they do. All right. If you're a believer, you've told a lie before, you're probably still lying. So I don't want us to be put on that pedestal of, oh, holier than thou. They don't tell lies. We tell lies. It happens. Thing is, repenting and being honest is what makes it better for us. Because if we don't repent and we don't acknowledge it, then as a believer, we're hypocrites. I told y'all in another video that you have to be honest, because if I'm not honest, then I am a hypocrite. And I don't want to be a hypocrite. Seriously. This works if we're both doing it. Do not lose a friendship. And I'm talking about years. You've been friends since childhood. You've been friends since college. You've been friends throughout a good portion of your life as adults. And then all of a sudden, the honesty stops. That's a hurtful thing in a friendship. I would look at my friends and be like, whoa, we can't do this. And now that I'm 36 years old, I just don't have time for the drama. That old saying, save the drama for your mama. That's how I feel. I just don't have time for it. Tell me the truth. I don't want to go out and celebrate something and I know that you're still feeling some type of way. That's totally unfair, because I'm looking at it from a different situation and I'm looking at it like everything is okay. And I told y'all before, a man thinks one way. We cannot be versatile. We can only handle one thing at a time. Now, a woman can be versatile. Y'all feelings, y'all emotions run a little bit different than ours. But if you're making us feel like everything is okay, that's what we're going to run with. So you can't be mad if we're sitting there saying, what did I do? What's going on? What's wrong? We really don't know what's wrong. Especially if one day we were fine and then the next minute, because y'all women emotions, I'm not being smart, they just run a little funny. Y'all could be cool with this one day and then the next minute y'all turn into the exorcist on us. And we like, what just happened? Just being real. Be honest. Be honest. I don't care if it's man, woman. Just be honest. These relationships are hurting because there's not enough honesty in it. And that's why you are where you are. I had to be honest with myself. There were some things that I needed to change real bad in my own life. And a lot of it had to do with just where I was. I was broken because I was broken physically. So it took a lot away from my mental capacity. Like I couldn't think straight. There was things that I wanted to do that I couldn't do, and it just messed me up here a whole lot. But should I have handled it in a different way? Yeah, maybe if I had the help and the resources that I have now. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that for myself because I wanted help for me. I didn't acknowledge it because I wanted to get back in anybody's good gracious or nothing. Good graces. I just wanted to do it for me. Self hurt was the worst type of hurt for myself. So I had to do self healing. This chapter of my life was for me. It was for me to learn something out of it. It was for me because it helped me to be a stronger person. This time around, even going back into surgery, I'm going to be even stronger because I self healed. I prepared myself. I have a good support system. It's even better than it was before. Those are the things that I had to do for myself without trying to please anyone else. This is trying and actually pleasing Kenton for once. Reevaluate yourself. You know if you're being honest. You know if you're being real. You know if you're being straight up. I'm going to tell you, stop it. You're too grown for all of the nonsense. Life is too short. Stop getting into these new relationships because you don't want to fix your previous relationships. And as personal, friendship, whatever type of relationship you may have, you're starting something new because you don't want to acknowledge the wrong from the previous. Ain't you tired of that cycle? My viewers, aren't you tired of that cycle? That cycle gets old, it gets played out. I don't want to keep starting something new. That's how you break generational curses. You break it by dealing with it. You don't break it by moving on. We're going to talk a lot more about this stuff because what it's doing to the generation after us, it's no joke. If you're not being honest with yourself and you're not being honest in your relationships, your children are seeing this. They're picking stuff like this up. You know what they're saying? Oh, it's easy for daddy and mommy to just move on, so I could just move on. I just find a new friend. I just find a new mate because I'm not happy or because I just don't want to be honest at all. I want to continue to keep lying. They see it. I'm telling you, they picking it up. I'm watching it every day in life. We got to be careful. Break those curses now. If you got to get some help from the things that happen in your past life, go get the help for yourself. Don't get the help for nobody else. And then try to heal and repair those relationships. If it's a friend or a family member you haven't talked to in a very long time, call them up. Try to repair it. I told you, not being honest is what got you to where you are right now because you wasn't honest. That's all. I hope that someone gets something out of this. And I hope that it resonates to them and for them. I'm going to try to post again today. I love you guys. And keep me in your prayers if you pray. And if you don't, then keep me in your thoughts. Continue to subscribe and view. And please comment. Comment. I am getting a lot of feedback on these videos, and I'm also getting a lot of positive responses from people. I don't just, because you don't see any comments up here, trust me, I get a lot of phone calls and text messages, and I appreciate them all. I know that this is helping a lot of people, and I'm glad that I am doing it. So, once again, it's not to take jabs at anybody. It never was. It was never for that at all. I don't do that. This is not what it's for. You know, it's to help someone else out because I've been through some things and it's a part of my life and my testimony. That's it. So if it helps you, just give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't, give me a thumbs down.